staying power. Be encouraged today that no matter what you walk through, no matter how broken your marriage is, no matter how many times you failed, there is within you a spirit that is greater than whatever is going on around you.
If you would be willing to fight your way through this battle, fight your way through cancer, fight your way through that academic struggle, fight your way through divorce, fight your way through it. If you are willing to fight your way through that singing career, fight your way through boxing, fight your way through football, I'm telling you, at the end of the fight is going to come victory. And as you crawl up and out of that dismal and wretched place, as you rise above what you were, and as you take the form of who you are supposed to be, you will see that in the very act of standing up, in the very act of fighting on, you will become and you will remain unbroken.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, good evening, guys. Hello, team. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me, all the members in the house? Good evening, team. Just put a few dens in the chat. Can you hear me? Is my voice loud and clear? Good evening, all. Okay, Dheeraj, Krishna, Komal. Nice to see you. Bang on time, Thursday, 9 p.m. We are in. Let's go. Okay, very good to see. Sharp on time, 9:02 p.m. We are ready to bang today's session, and it's going to be simply amazing. Okay, I think all the knowledge which people get after a lot of struggle into this real world, as part of this 1 hour, we are going to give you a power pack information about how you should shape up your career. Okay, and I personally know that there are many people working in the IT industry. They are also not aware of the concepts based upon how they should plan their career forward. Those kind of things we are going to discuss today. It's really going to be amazing. Okay, and the aim is not to make you guys DevOps, but the aim is to enhance your potential as an application developer, how you can enter into this DevOps, because that's where the market is going through. Okay, and I personally feel it's going to be a pretty amazing session. First of all, thoda curtain khol deta hu so that it would look good, right? Let me just pull it. Fine. Okay, now guys, chalo, let's get started. Okay, now the thing is, team, since past 3 days we have been daily step by step working towards job hunting, resumes and actions, and you guys are all on fire, doing a lot of stuff, scoring and everything. Okay, today's topic, we really want to get to a point, okay, the resume which you are building up using ChatGPT tools and everything, how do we really know the content inside that? And that's where yesterday we said roadmap.sh and meeting as part of that and all those things. Now the thing is, if in your resume, apart from your application, every project gets deployed into an infrastructure, right? Every project runs into an infrastructure, be it AWS, be it Azure, be it GCP, be it on premises, but the code runs eventually on a machine. And when there are so many services and there are so many standards in the IT industry, it becomes must and should for every developer to know it, even as a fresher. Okay, this is how it's going to happen. And as part of today's session, we are inviting one of a very great expert in this arena. Okay, the name is Subhan Londe. Already in the WhatsApp group, I have shared some of the core insights about this guy. It's really amazing, and I feel many of you will already be knowing him. Okay, so just put a few like yes, if you know him, just put a few wows in the chat, everyone. Okay, and guys, we are streaming this on YouTube as well. Okay, it's being streamed on YouTube. Yeah, there are many people who know Shubham, and yeah, he's really doing some excellent work. And now we will be inviting him. He's already in the call with us. And chalo, let's get started. So Shubham, I will be giving you a quick video access. Just give a second. Here we go. So if anybody wants to check it on YouTube due to link and problems, yeah, somebody says DevOps वाले भैया. ठीक है, तो आप लोग के DevOps वाले भैया को let's call him in the house. Okay, so Mr. Shubham. Okay, yeah, so he's in. Hello, Shubham. Could you try turning your like video on, Shubham?
Hello, everyone.
अरे बढ़िया.
Hello. How are you, Tosif?
Yes, I'm doing good. So guys, we have Shubham in the house. You can see this bright, cheerful face. Shubham looks like कोई पूजा पाठ करके भैया बैठ गए. आज मजा आएगा, ठीक है?
Yeah,
Boom
there
rocks
was
वाले.
one event at my home. So
Mhm.
yeah, just finished it and I was so excited that, yeah, super excited to join Tosif's live. Awesome. I think we might need the access to the chat.
Okay, let me just turn it out. Here it is.
Or I don't have the access.
एक second. I'll make you make co-host. So I think in that case you will be having Shubham access. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. So guys, throw a
Awesome.
few duns in the chat, yeah, and let's see Shubham can see it, I guess. Yeah, the chats are
Yeah,
rolling. Shubham?
I can see. Yeah, I can see a
Super.
lot of chats. Awesome.
Chalo bhai, le lo.
Superb.
Okay. So Shubham, yeah, your intro and just get started. Like what we are going to discuss today about. Yeah.
Superb. So everyone, hello and welcome. So this is Shubham. I want to give a small introduction about myself. So I've completed around 5 years in IT, out of which the last 3 years were completely remote. I'm working for a UK based startup. Before that, I used to go to office. In 2018, I started my journey in software engineering, IT world. I started as a software engineer where I learned a lot of backend programming, lot of DevOps. I didn't know I was actually doing DevOps because of the tools. Nowadays, DevOps and all these things, infrastructure, these keywords are booming. But back in 2018, everything was considered in software engineering only. Then I did a switch. I started working in service-based industry. Now, service-based and product-based, both are totally different. I got experience of both the worlds. And currently I'm working in a product-based startup remotely. Apart from that, I also try to run a YouTube channel, which is called Train with Shubham. It also has a community of more than around 60,000 people. Apart from that, I also teach, I learn. And out of all those things, if I get some time, I definitely spend some time on my health, on some spirituality. So yeah, a lot of things
And
during my
Shubham, in
day.
all this busy schedule, thank you for giving this group your one special hour. ठीक है? So from your busy life.
Always, anytime, anytime.
Nice. Okay. So guys, that was Shubham, all excited, loaded. He has really great expertise. If you follow him on LinkedIn, YouTube, you will find his amazing content there. He's helping a lot of people there. His great consistent bloggings and the community that he's building, he's doing some extraordinary role there. Okay. And yes, like somebody is saying already on the t-shirt, that train with Shubham ka dikh raha hai bolke. Yeah. So he's all full-fledged into this guy. Some pretty cool guy. Okay. Okay, so Shubham, so what are we going to discuss today? Yeah.
Awesome. So my idea is that let's take myself and let me take everyone back to 2018 when I started my journey. When I started with a blank slate. I had no idea what my next 5 years would look like, what my first year as a fresher would look like. I wanted to become a software engineer, but what exactly I have to do, I had no idea. Would it be only Python programming? Would it be only databases, or how it would be? But when I actually entered the IT industry, the industry is big. A lot of doors opened. A few doors opened for backend engineering. Then through backend, I also explored what is cloud engineering. I also explored what is DevOps. When I read more about DevOps, I explored what is infrastructure. So throughout my journey of those 5 years, when I was standing at my first year as a fresher, everything was blurred. But after those 5 years, now when I look back, I can see a roadmap. I can see a path which can, make you a better backend engineer or a better software engineer as a whole. So in
Mhm,
today's session, I
mhm,
would show you that roadmap, and at every year, what all new happened with my technology stack, with my IT career, what all new things I learned. And today, when it's August 2023, when I've completed 5 years, and if I reflect back, what all things were necessary, important for my software engineering career, what are things I could ignore, and what all things I will be learning in the next 1 year or
nice.
in the next 6 months. So
Mhm,
a
mhm.
kind of, a mirror which can help you, see through my journey. Also, that same mirror could help you see through your journey as well. It's like a 45-degree angle mirror, looking
Mm,
at the past and future and guiding you in the present.
nice.
Something
So,
like
guys,
this.
one important thing basically in this call, time traveling is going to happen. Okay, you will look fast forward ahead 5 years, how you should go ahead based upon true experience. So, I think it's going to time saving. What more is required in industry? And we have the expert talking about it. Chalo, Shubham. So, how did it all go? Yeah. And many
Awesome.
of our people, Shubham, is all at the entry level. So these all guys are at the entry level, trying to position like freshers, interns at the beginning level, 0 to 1, 0 to 2. And juniors ke liye abhi now, since the market is there, infra DevOps is being so popularly used, and
Hmm.
environment is everything. So I think this guidance will be too much like बोलते हैं ना वो चिराग ढूंढने तो चिराग ढूंढते, like I think that kind of thing stuff would happen. Chalo, let's go.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So yeah, I'll just quickly share a story. So it's my story only. So when I started back in, so joined my engineering in 2014 from Symbiosis, Pune. And I was always a bright student, always that topper student who used to get good marks. Everything was going good in life. So I had a confidence that I could clear any exam, any interview. I was very confident. But when the actual interview started, I could not clear the aptitude round. So that time I understood that okay, preparation for aptitude is also necessary. Some those MCQ questions, things like that. So I started preparing about that. That got cleared. Then came the interviews. Before the interviews, there are GD. So GD, I was lagging behind. Once GD practice I did, then face-to-face interview. So the journey was not always this easy, like how I make the videos look very easy. Journey was not that easy. So every day you have to upskill. Let's say you learned something and you got to know that I'm not that good in something. You have to upskill, you have to give some hours, and then you can overcome that. Now, fast forwarding it to 2018, when I joined my first company after all those struggles. It was my first day, and my expectation was that I have learned Python in my course, in my BTech. So, at most, what they can give me a Python script, a Python program, which I'll have to run, and that's it. And they gave me write a Docker file for a particular Bitcoin node, and it was completely blank for me. I did not know what is Bitcoin. I did not know what is Node. I did not know what is Docker and which file we are talking about. I had no idea. And that time I realized that, hey, you have joined a startup and you have to constantly upskill yourself. The world is moving very fast. 2018 was the year when I explored what is Docker, what is containerization. And I understood that in college, even if you develop an application in your laptop, we generally don't use that laptop in production. We ship the application to a different server, and on that server, the application runs. So that was the year when I discovered this. Okay. So being a software engineer is not just limiting your scope, that I know something and that something should run on my machine. That was my first learning. Your code should be written in such a way that it is extensible. People can run on their machine itself. Basically, it can run anywhere. Okay. So that was my first lesson. Imagine.
Guys,
the-
yeah. So,
yeah.
guys, everyone, please make a note of this one. So, parallelly, take some roads running. So,
Yeah.
it will really help you to pinpoint it. So, guys, his first learning, the code should be designed so beautifully that it can execute anywhere. So, that's what is his first core learning. Please make a quick note about it. And here, Shubham, I like to add one thing here. I was working for some of the project and we were just discussing, and there were all these topics coming. Hey, let's build up in Docker and Kubernetes and clusters. Let's develop applications like that. And then like we were speaking with one of a friend, and that friend was working in industry since past 5-6 years, and in a very like low scale project, not that much load, and he's just like manually sab kuch chal raha hai. And then there was an architect available in that conversation. So that architect said ki, if you're not working with containers, then what are you even doing in the IT industry? You are still in the stone age, right?
Yeah.
So this
Exactly.
is
And
like
in
fun.
college, we never, learn what is Docker, what is container. So let me just, if everyone is
Share
taking
your
notes
screen.
only, yeah, just share a board where I'll just, if you can see the screen, can you see it?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah, awesome. So when it was 2018, I got to know how I think the annotations need to be off.
I think, is it at your side?
Clear or annotation.
Disable annotation.
Yeah, done.
Okay. अरे ये कौन ड्रॉ कौन करने लगा भाई, कौन है ये ग्रुप में चतुर?
So
Okay, yeah, Shubham.
yeah, just a minute. Clear all drawings. Awesome. So in 2018, I got to know that containers, the world of containers is very important. Okay. So when imagine a fresher who has just learned how to reverse a string, how to find a palindrome number or something like that. And then they are told that, hey, write a code which is extensible. When it says extensible, it simply means other people can also add to that code, and your code can basically, it can scale, it can run on any machine, it can be reusable. So for that, Docker was very important. And that I learned in 2018, my first startup. So in the startup in which I was working. So I upskilled myself, saw a few videos on YouTube, read the official documentation of Docker, and somehow from here and there, I could finish my task in time. My task was to create a Docker for Bitcoin node. So it was a system, a service which runs the cryptocurrency Bitcoin code. So I could do that. Now, I had to develop a functionality. So that functionality was simple functionality. So if you remember, if you watch a movie, so you add that movie to your wish list, right? You add that movie to wish list and you can remove from the wish list. So something like this, a simple functionality, add to favorite, remove from favorites. I wanted to make that. It was my first assignment, second assignment. And I created that. I was so confident that, hey, I created a functionality for my organization. I am just a fresher and I am now writing code for production application. And
कोई तो रोक लो शुभम को.
I was so confident that, oh my God, I'm just, all over the
हाँ.
place. I could write Docker, I could write Python. And now, when my code was given, it was rejected. And my entire confidence went like this, gone. Now, why it was rejected? The code was beautifully written. It was extensible. It had a Docker file. Beautifully written code. It was working. But if your code is working, that is not enough. If your code is beautifully written, that is not enough. If you have used best practices, comments, everything, still it is not enough until and unless you do something which is known as TDD, which is test driven development. So my code was rejected because there were no test cases. So that time I learned everything that you write as a engineer, as a software engineer, if a end user is using it, they will have n number of combinations, n number of ways of executing that code, and that can fail. So you need to have different test cases, test driven development. So what is test driven development? You have to develop with a mindset that there are test cases written and every test case should pass for your written code. That is something which I understood in 2018. And all of my myths that IT mein chill hai, everything is happening, everything is, you will get bonus, you will get hike. Everything boiled down to how efficiently you work, how, there's something, a word which I got to know in IT only, it's called due diligence. So how much your mind you are applying at that given task. So all these things I started learning in 2018. So I'm showing you a mirror that when I started as a fresher, what all things were given to me, which I had no idea about. Test driven development. There is something known as solid principle. So I don't remember exactly the full form, but every developer, every engineer has to follow some practices. So all those practices I got to know in 2018. There is something known as Uncle Bob coding practices that you should definitely learn. So Uncle Bob coding standards. So
Please make a
Uncle
note, quick.
Bob,
Uncle Bob.
yeah. So Uncle Bob is someone who is a programmer, speaker, teacher. And in 2018, I got to know that you have to write clean code. You have to have a clean architecture. You have to have solid software design. You have to do test-driven development, all these things. So these things were something which I got to know in 2018. So how many of you have already been following these things, test-driven development or Uncle Bob coding standards? How many of you have been following, or is it new for you? Is it something new for you? How many of you think this is new for you? So all the people who are writing new for you, can you see the year? Can you see the year which I have written? 2018. So I got to know all this in 2018. The reason why I'm able to share everything is I was working with a team which was very advanced. They wanted everything, production ready. That is why I'm not telling you something very futuristic. Again, coming back, I wanted to show you a mirror which will reflect things that what will help you for your future. Okay. So 2018 went well. I learned a lot of things. And when I was, at a stage where I used to do test-driven development, my changes, whatever features I used to create or I used to develop, they were accepted. Okay. So I felt that, okay, now I'm going somewhere. Now they gave me access to their production server. They directly gave me the access. Somewhere they saw something in me that, okay, this guy will be able to handle it. And that time I got to know a different world. and that word was cloud. And I was exposed to AWS cloud. I was never exposed to Azure until 2019. GCP also I explored very slightly, but AWS was something I was exposed in 2018, and that
And you
changed.
were doing coding in what, Shubham? What was your primary coding technology?
Python,
Python. Okay, okay.
everything. So I've been writing Python since 2017. So
Hmm.
it's more than around 6 years I've been writing Python.
So a proper developer journey you got started with.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got started with developer journey, but if you see these things,
Yeah.
containers, cloud,
Ajo,
then
right.
then I got to know what is DevOps and cloud. So I got to know about cloud. So when the CTO of my company in 2018, he was a ex-employee of Book My Show. So everyone has used Book My Show. You must have seen that application is running since a long time, and it is just amazing. No application on in India at least has ever tried to compete with Book My Show. There are many applications like Zomato, then came Swiggy, Food Panda, and so many things. But for Book My Show, there was no alternative. The reason being, it was completely based on best practices. And this CTO which we had, he was an ex Book My Show employee. So whatever I learned was on the basis of India's best application, which was Book My Show. So whatever I learned was top notch. So when I opened the doors for cloud, I saw that my application, which I developed on a laptop, that laptop had 8 GB RAM, some kind of I think 4 CPUs, and some 512 GB hard disk. But that application, when it was running on servers, was not running on single server. It was running in a cluster which had multiple such instances, not one, not two, not three. I once saw there were 3 clusters having around 60 servers each, and I had to manage everything. Initially it would look like, oh my god, I am working on one laptop, but I am seeing 180 servers, so many things going on. But how would I do this? But
And what was
cloud,
this project, Shravan? Matlab, what is
uh,
this
it,
project? The concept?
so this project was basically a cryptocurrency exchange.
India mein hai ki outside?
It was for India, but it got shut down. The
Acha.
reason being, Modi ji,
Okay, okay.
they said cryptocurrency legal tender nahi hai, and we had to shut down all of the servers at once.
Okay, okay. No, but
That's a
something which
different
was
story.
operating that big at that time. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I once saw, when I was given directly the production access, I once saw there were live 150,000 users.
Whoa.
Live. They were transacting bitcoins live. And the database, I did refresh 5,000 entries. Refresh 75,000 entries. So
Khatarnak.
every 2 seconds there were 25,000 entries going on.
Mm.
That large scale application I had to develop and deploy. So in 2018, I got a chance to explore cloud. I did not develop anything on cloud. I was not a cloud developer, or I did not directly run services on cloud, because that was just time when I was exploring things. I got to know what is AWS EC2. I got to know what EC2 is, a service of AWS which acts like your laptop, a virtual server in cloud. It acts like a laptop. If you want to run 10 EC2 servers, you can do that as well. And AWS will cost you a lot, something like that. And at that time, I got to know that many services existed. Okay, EC2. If you wanted to do database, what I used to do, this was my laptop, and there was something known as MySQL. I used to install MySQL in my laptop. But on AWS, things were RDS. relational database service. Again, everything was a service. Everything was something which is managed by AWS. So I had to learn how the world of AWS works. Still, I am in 2018 only. And that year was so, tech heavy for me that I started enjoying tech, because my working hours were around, I used to leave the office at 4 a.m. When I used to join, don't ask, because I used to leave the office at 4 a.m. I used to, go to bed. I did not have dinner. I had breakfast as dinner. The reason being, I was working for 12 to 14 hours. Why? Because I was exposed to so many new things. Whatever my college taught in 4 years was not enough for those, 8 to 10 hours of work which I had to do. So I had to spend extra hours upskilling myself. So this is your time to learn those things so that you are already industry ready. You have all those skills which are required in the industry. And I learned a lot of cloud services. I also deployed one or two. And this gave me a lot of confidence, a lot of skills in my resume. So if you talk about the skills in my resume, the skills which were added were Docker, then AWS, or let me just open my resume. So if I
And
go,
so even as a backend developer, you can
Hmm.
write all of this list of tools because developers itself would deploy in many projects. Okay.
Correct. So I'll just open my experience. So if you see, whatever I was telling was this. My time period during when I was in Coin Delta. So Coin Delta was that trading platform for cryptocurrencies and digital tokens, which I built with the help of a lot of team members. So I worked on Bitcoin, Ethereum using Python, and integrated various technologies like wit.ai. Imagine all these AI tools which we are seeing right now. I was integrating in 2018. Reason being, we were so, technologically advanced that we wanted everything in a platform. Telegram bots, which are famous right now, we added back in 2018. S3, AWS API Gateway, Socket IO, all these things. So that gave me a, jump that, hey, I know all these things. So when I switched, so this company, it got shut down, unfortunately. Amazing company, amazing people. Because of that thing, cryptocurrency thing, it got shut down. But with these technologies, I got a role of software developer in heap trace technology in 2019. Again, it was a service based company. Okay, service based company. So in 2018, all these learning, I went to 2019, where everything was a service based company. Now if you want to get a spoiler of what is a product based company and what is a service based company, in product based company, you have one product for which you have to work day and night to make it better and the best. In service company, you have many clients. You have to work day in and day out to serve the clients the best of you, whatever capabilities you have. You can make a good product, you can make the best product, you can make a poor product, whatever. Client should be happy. This is what I learned in my service based industry. So whatever I am able to teach you right now, be it Docker, be it Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible, so many technologies. How did that happen? Because I was in a service based company where technology stack was not limited. It was not limited to one particular client. I was dealing with 3 different clients. One client was working in AWS, one wanted in Azure, and one wanted in GCP. I had to learn multi cloud. So, just to reflect that mirror, you might be facing a lot of new challenges. So always leave your comfort zone. don't become, if I would have been comfortable here in containers, I would have never understood a concept of Kubernetes. I would have never understood the concept of Kubernetes. So what is Kubernetes? So you learned that in 2018, I created Docker containers. And on that Docker containers, whatever your application is, it can run on any system. But the reality which I understood in 2019, you don't run Docker containers in production servers. You run them inside a cluster, an orchestration tool like Kubernetes. So in 2019, I learned what is Kubernetes, and that was for a particular client. It was a UK based client. Till here, is everyone with me? We just crossed 1 year. Is everyone with me? Awesome. We have finished 1 year worth of learning. I just want everyone to write notes that, hey, in 1 year, we can achieve something which is AWS cloud. We can learn a lot of things. We can achieve test-driven development. We can go to Uncle Bob and we can be a better developer, better software engineer. Okay. Now let's come to 2019.
So
If you-
Shubham, when you came to 19, so what kind of role you took here? You joined as what?
I joined as a software developer only, but
Uh-huh.
here I got to work as a DevOps and developer both.
Okay.
So
So guys,
this
so
was
guys,
a
everyone just have a this look right from 2018, 2019 onwards in the market, knowing both this knowledge is like there. And that too, he just started. He was fresher. He was 1 year experience.
yeah.
So the point is, there might be a lot of people in the group right now. Let's say if you have even 3 years of experience, but did not get much exposure to all these things. Point is, try to get it as early as possible. Okay, because these are becoming mandatory, almost mandatory. Like in my project, we opened 3 positions, and for that, Java development plus DevOps capability was required, because like 40-member team we have 2 DevOps people, but apart from that, day-to-day developers have to interact a lot with the AWS system. So we needed to open such positions, and very shortly this will become common. And Shubham's journey is telling that. Okay, and just to put it in one word or few statements, like whatever Shubham said right now, it's simple. You're writing code. This code needs to execute somewhere, and production is a different system altogether. So you need to understand what kind of systems you are working with. How does code get built? How it gets deployed? And that is where all this world of infrastructure comes. तो पहला तो ये देख लो कि if you know your how to code, you should know how to execute it. Don't assume that somebody else is going to come and like run your code. So, and if let's say DevOps is not there in your team, okay, it's only a developer team. Sometimes that will be case. So you have to expose and know all these things. So I think today's session will be an eye opener. Be ready for the market. And if you say in your resume you have done a project, automatically comes a question: how did you execute this? How did you deploy this? So I think today's knowledge is really going to be pretty insightful. You can explore more about these concepts, containers, Dockers, and all, and try to just see how it works. YouTube, may a lot of videos you will find. Plus, Shubham, I think, might be personally coaching also on these things. I think very insightful, acha learning mil raha hai. So this will upgrade your project value. Not like basic coding, programming. You can talk about this thing which feels real world. Okay, that's very important.
Yeah,
Shubham.
and exactly that happened. So when I joined Heap Trace, there was a project which was given to me that, hey, the application is a 3-tier application. When I say 3-tier application, it means it has a front end, it has a back end, it has a database. Front end, it is known as presentation layer. Back end, it's the business logic. And database, it's basically a database where all the data is stored. So in 2019, I had to develop and deploy a 3-tier application. The same project which you all ask on my YouTube channel, that please bring a video on 3-tier application. So I'll be just telling you about it. So there was a UK-based client, and that client wanted a application which was a intense application, and plus you should be knowing how the service-based industry works. If they dream about something, they want the reality. If they say that there should be a button, on the click of the button, within a second, I should get a download report. Now, as a developer, you know that it takes a millisecond to reach the backend. Then it will scan the database. It'll go through firewalls and through a lot of jumps. In after 3 to 4 seconds, the output will be there. But no, you are servicing. You are in a service-based industry. You have to please the client. The client requirements are very heavy. That time I realized that whatever knowledge I learned here was not enough. I had to improve the time to market, or I have to improve the speed. And that was the day when the word DevOps came into my life. Now, what DevOps did, DevOps basically it's development and operations. So development teams and the deployment or the operation teams, when they collaborate, they reduce the time between them. So for example, if a developer has created a code on his or her machine, now that code gets built into a Docker container, and that Docker container is then deployed in a Kubernetes architecture so that it is, heavily production ready. It is Kubernetes, also known as K8s, and then it is available to the customer. Now, this entire thing needs to happen within seconds. If I am doing it manually.
Can I add one thing here?
Yeah.
Guys, I think, yes, some of you are like beginner level. So we touched this Docker and now Kubernetes, and now we are getting into speed. Okay, but I just want you to get complete clarity of this Docker related thing. Okay, so it's nothing but you just imagine in your laptop, if you want to run a software, so you take a executable file, install it there, then series of multiple other softwares might also be required. Let's say you install IDEs, you install your Git, you install your Java related packages if it is Java. So point is, you install a lot of softwares, then you do some setup, then you start your service. Okay. A point is, if you want to run your code on any place else, you would have to execute the same commands at n number of places, which is a pretty time consuming thing. Okay? Yeah. So then comes this Docker in picture. By only one time in one place, you write everything, which softwares to install and everything. It is a one-time activity. Okay, what softwares are required and full environment, how the service will be created. So it's like in your OS itself, it's a virtual OS created. So you can just imagine it's a virtual OS which has all the softwares ready in it where your code can execute, and it is a pretty independent piece. Okay, you just write your entire application, execute it, set it up one time, and then you give it to anybody. Okay, execute it in this machine, execute it there, and it just runs without need to additionally, like if you are a developer, only you need to know how this service should operate. Everybody else takes it and just runs it without needing to additionally do any work. So that is where is the second component from your laptop. This floatable virtual things are going, and then he is now jumping into Kubernetes, and already he gave that example, the cluster chal raha hai, and now speed pe chalte. Okay, so
exactly. Really,
so Shivam has already clarified this, but I still like agar koi rahega,
correct.
nikal gaye apan. So just for that.
It happens. So because everyone is a fresher, I was also when I was a fresher, this was so overwhelming. So as I mentioned, I used to work for 14 hours. Office used to finish at 10 p.m. or something. I used to wait 6 more hours. Whatever I saw in office, I used to learn that. So let's say what you saw today, Docker, Kubernetes, learn about it. Okay, upskill about it, and that's when the 6 hours and 8 more hours of preparation that comes into picture. So what happened here? I knew what is Docker. I knew what is Kubernetes. But the thing is, if I created that box which can run anywhere, if I go on the server and I create it manually, it took me around 10 minutes or something. If I ran it on Kubernetes, again, it took me 10 minutes or something. And to reach this particular client, it took totally 20 minutes to reach. If I have created a new feature, it took 20 minutes to reach to the user. That was not working. Client said that, hey,
Deployment
I
time.
want to
You are
add
saying full deployment time, shipping time of a feature.
shipping time. So 20 minutes
Acha,
is
acha.
just a random number. Just imagine any big number, 20
Okay,
minutes,
okay.
30 minutes. It used to
Hmm.
take a lot of time.
Hmm.
At that time, I realized there should be something which should be continuous, and whatever I am integrating with code, so continuous integration should be done, and whatever I am deploying, even that should be continuous. So whatever deployment is happening, so development team, which is the continuous integration, deployment team, which is the continuous deployment, and that time I got to know what is CI/CD, and that gave one more tool in my list called Jenkins. So if you go to the resume again, you will find in 2019 only, I started development and DevOps, acquainted with Jenkins and Docker architecture with AWS and VPCs. So I got to know about DevOps, how you can improve, your, deployment speed, how you can reduce that time to market. So if application is taking 20 minutes manually, using CI/CD Jenkins, same was done using 2 minutes, because everything was so seamless. And in 2019, I got to know more about how the cloud works, how DevOps works, and that's when everything started. So I was not only a backend engineer, I was also a professional who knew what is DevOps, who knew what is cloud, and that's where the entire story begins. How I am able to
Hmm.
teach you all DevOps and cloud, how the YouTube videos or whatever I'm doing in my current organization, how am I able to do that? Because in service based company, every client had this fire that, hey, give me fast, give me fast. And that time I explored that how to make things fast. I did not know I was doing DevOps. I was actually using DevOps tools. For example, I wanted to create a server, a EC2 instance. I wanted to create a database. I wanted to create a bucket where I can store some data. If I did that thing manually, it took me around 20 minutes, or I'm again and again saying 20 minutes. Just assume that 20 minutes is a big number. It used to take some time. In 2020, I got to know something known as Terraform, which is known as infrastructure as code.
Service code. Huh?
Infrastructure as code. So this, which took me 20 minutes to create a server, create a database, create a bucket on AWS cloud, again that reduced to 2 minutes, even less than 2 minutes, sometimes 30 seconds only. So unknowingly, what is DevOps and what is cloud? It is making your life easier, life faster, making developers' life easier and faster. Unknowingly, I was doing that. And in the backend, my software engineering career was getting the tools like Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible, AWS Cloud, Jenkins, which are DevOps tools. So whenever I give my introduction, or if you go and check my LinkedIn also, nowhere it is written I am a DevOps engineer, but I'm a backend engineer. I'm a software engineer who knows how to ship products fast, who knows how to ship scalable products. And that is what I learned during 2019, 2020. So the learnings of 2018, the mistakes of 2018 made me a better software engineer in 2019. The requirements, the changing requirements of 2019 gave me adaptability, gave me flexibility to learn more and more tools, which made me a developer and a DevOps engineer in 2020. And with all those skills, I started teaching. I started contributing to open source. I started writing blogs. I started posting on LinkedIn. So whatever I knew, I started posting on LinkedIn. Whatever new I learned, I created a pull request on GitHub. I started contributing to open source. I started making videos. And 2020, there was one fine person from UK who saw a contribution to GitHub, and that person offered me a job, which is a remote job. And till 2023, today, so from December 2020, or let's assume 2021 to 2023, I'm working remotely for a UK based company where I'm using all these tools, everything that I learned. And these things are the things which are currently in the market. These are things which are required in the market. If you go to my resume again, you will understand currently whatever is required is scalability. Currently, it is required backend engineering, DevOps tools, AWS, ECS, MapReduce, all these services are required. So I also got some. So because I wanted to learn a lot of things, I wanted to learn a lot of new things. I got a few awards for that. But here in Heap Trace Technologies, the clients were always on top of my head that, hey, do faster, do faster. I had that mentality that I should be making my projects run faster. I reduced the time and cost for data pipelines by 60% using batch processing architecture. So imagine a product based company which takes 60% lesser time. That is the reason why they are keeping me in their company. They have given me a senior software engineer role, and that's how just
Yeah.
a mirror which I
Shubham,
wanted.
thoda sa just go back to your resume, na?
Yeah,
That resume. Okay, scroll a bit. Here go, guys. A few of the pointers, right? Metrics-driven data. So that 60% using incremental batch processing. So that is metrics you need to have. Second, he has accomplishment. So Rising Star Award. Okay. So that section kind of goes there. Next, all the skills and technologies, the primary keywords going there as well. Okay. So basically, yes, trying to really showcase all of those things in a very nice manner. So as part of this top section. Okay. Okay,
correct.
fine, Shubham. Chalo aur aage aur yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
yeah, that is how
9:53. Okay.
exactly. So that is how this mirror, which I had kept at 45 degrees, just to show that in 2018, a person who had no idea in IT industry only had a BTech degree with some notion that, hey, I was a topper in college, so everything will be happening good in my life. No, I had to, learn things the hard way. In 2018 and 2019, imagine there was a company change, a company which was shut down. My first job, which was gone. So that was the hardships which I had faced. 2019 to 2020, the clients in service based company, I don't know how many of you are working right now or have worked in a service based company. This service based company is not easy to work for. It is every day you have some client shouting at you that, hey, this is not working. And being in multiple projects, you might get new requirements. That someday you are working on Python and other client who is working on JavaScript. Again, you have to context switch JavaScript. You're working on AWS, context switch Azure. So this made me flexible, okay, adaptable. And the benefits of that came in 2021. I started working as a remote engineer. Again, the journey, the learning never stopped. So previously we were
One
using
thing,
Jenkins.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, ठीक है, Shubham, sorry for बीच में थोड़ा सा पोकी पोकी. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No worries.
but one thing, देखो guys, he pointed out one thing कि he was contributing to open source projects. Okay, and then somebody from UK saw his code commit to the open source repository and
Yeah.
offered him this role. Okay.
That
As part of our yesterday session or day before, we said, right, that's one of the option. Even if you're not hired, you can work on open source projects, put up your code there, and that also you can include it in your resume as well. You have done some contributions there. Plus, these kind of opportunities might just come from somewhere. Okay?
yeah.
And it doesn't need to for you to get hired for that. If you have knowledge, you can see what is the requirement and start working on open source. Okay, so that's one good thing which created opportunity where he's right now since 2-3 years working there.
Almost 2.8 years. Yeah.
And there is one thing I will tell about Shubham. Okay, we just started with the session. It was 9, and we wanted to cover the core topic. I think like amazingly he has done it. Okay, some of you might have heard him, seen him for the first time. I don't know because yes, you are coming from the college. Many of you know him as well. But guys, he is a very big personality on internet. If you see, okay, YouTube पे he has like 60,000 followers. On LinkedIn, he's doing a massive contributions. He visits campuses, colleges, gives there lot of like big connects of DevOps. He drives the initiative. So he's leading this full division very greatly. Okay, so he's not just some other random person remotely काम कर रहा था and एक session में आके बैठ गया. So I was actually very much concerned कि will he have time to really join us for this 1 hour? Okay, so I think this is just amazing to know, and the way he puts the things is so much honest and pure. I think it should have definitely connected with you. Okay, but that's what. So ऐसे मत समझोगे ऐसे ही कोई है. Like just see him on social media, and you will be amazed about his great contribution which he is doing. Yeah, Shubham.
Thanks a lot, Tausif.
थोड़ा लोगों को बताना पड़ेगा भाई, नहीं तो बोलेंगे हल्के में लेंगे शुभम को तो कैसे चलेगा.
So yeah,
Right.
that वही मैं बता रहा था कि even if you are standing here today, you want to become a software engineer, you are a software engineer, but understand that every year, whatever I learned, so it would be great that you won't have to wait for 5 years to reach to 2020, 2022, and then 2023. You know the skills which are going in the market. You know that client requirement is there, multi-cloud requirement is there, AWS is booming. You know all these things. Why not learn it and add it to your resume? Add it to your skills. Learning Python, learning Java, .NET, it's fine. Good. What makes you different is how you transition between these years. If you have that kind of skills at here, imagine what kind of roles you will be offered. Okay, that was my whole point. That look at the mirror where I was standing over the years, and now you can see a journey for yourself. So indirectly, I've given you a roadmap for becoming a better backend engineer. I nowhere said that I was a DevOps engineer. I directly gave you my resume. No DevOps, never. But I learned DevOps. How? During the experience, throughout the journey. And every developer at some stage, not now, right now, but maybe till 2026, everyone has to learn cloud. Everyone has to learn DevOps, I feel.
Right.
Yeah.
So true.
So yeah, that was it from my side. Mostly explaining what all things happened in those years and how you can take away my learnings, my mistakes, and not repeat those. Instead, make better mistakes, make bigger mistakes, and learn from them. So yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Okay. So guys, yeah, Shubham, just hold in for some time. So guys, I'm pasting the attendance link for today. Okay, so I'm pasting it in the chat. Everybody, please mark your attendance. The attendance code for today is 3333, and this is pasted here. Okay, please check it out, guys. Please mark your attendance. Like all the consistent members, by the end of the program, we will be supplying with you with some materials and all. So try to daily mark your attendance. It's a 10-day program. Today is the day 4, and we have Shubham with us for that. On YouTube as well, team, I'm pasting the attendance link. The code is 3333. Okay, so all the LinkedIn guys, the code, on YouTube, the code is 3333. Yes, and please fill in the form. Okay, And by the time you guys are doing it, so I would really take a moment to thanks Shubham. I will be sharing his links in the groups, like WhatsApp groups that we have, so you can connect with him, know more about that stuff. But just as a conclusion, you are developing something, you need to know how these things gets executed, and
Hmm.
don't assume that somebody else should come and do it for you. You need to know it end to end. फिर देखो, there are specific areas where DevOps specialities will be exclusively required. But at least from a developer perspective, you should know your territory, which is write and execute. Okay? This is how you have to take care of it. Okay? And I think it was a pretty nice eye-opener session. In detailed, less than 1 hour, he touched so beautiful things very nicely to the point. Okay? And like you see his name, Train with Shubham. So I think you can search based upon the same place everywhere. Like on YouTube channel is Train with Shubham. On LinkedIn also you'll find something like that. And his name is Shubham Londe. Okay? So he's from Pune, right? So
Ah.
Pune ka munda hai ye. जय
Pune-
महाराष्ट्र. पुणेरी पुणेकर.
Punegar. Ah.
हाँ, पुणेकर. Okay, ठीक है guys, so chalo, all the very best and wish you all a great time, and see you guys tomorrow 9 p.m. for the job hunting related activities. So please, like, let's work towards it. Till Sunday we have some tasks available, so we will keep doing that. Okay, and chalo, thanks Shubham for your time. Thanks for
Thank you
coming
so
and
much.
seeing and pouring your knowledge to the group.
Thank you
Okay.
so much, Vasif. Thanks
Chalo,
everyone.
thanks. And
Thank you.
everybody is like pouring a lot of love to you, Shubham. Lot of thank yous coming, and I think it's a very great time for us. Okay?
Thank you so much. All the best, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Chalo. Thank you everyone.